Amelia always had a spark in her eye, a lightness in her step that belied the weight she carried in her heart. With every stride across the bustling campus, she embraced the thrill of her future, excitement bubbling just beneath the surface. Yet, it was the moment she spent with her grandfather, Pete, that truly lit up her world. His laughter was a melody she could never forget, a harmony she relied on even in the busiest of times. Each weekend visit to his modest home was a refuge from the pressures of academia, a chance to escape into the stories that danced between them, stories not just of the past, but of dreams yet to be fulfilled. Before we dive deeper into Amelia's journey, I invite you to subscribe to our channel. Your support is vital for us to share more inspiring stories like this one, and together, we can touch the hearts of even more people. So please hit that subscribe button now. As the semester rolled on, Amelia found herself buried under textbooks and lectures, her future bright and promising. But then, without warning, life threw her a curveball. The news came like a thunderclap. Pete had suffered a debilitating stroke, his vibrant spirit now trapped in a body that refused to cooperate. The world she had been building for herself suddenly felt fragile, as if it could shatter at any moment. She rushed to his side, her heart pounding with worry, her mind racing with uncertainty. The hospital room was sterile and cold, a stark contrast to the warmth of their shared moments. As she held his hand, she could feel the strength ebbing away from him, and it terrified her. Days turned into weeks, and with every visit, Amelia felt the weight of a decision looming over her. She could continue her studies, chase her dreams, or she could stay with Pete, the only family she had left. The thought of leaving him alone in a world that had become so daunting was unbearable. The vibrant laughter they once shared now echoed in her mind like a forgotten song. After long nights of contemplation, she made the choice that would change the course of her life. She would drop out of college, put her aspirations on hold, and devote herself to caring for her grandfather. The transition from student life to caregiver was jarring. Amelia found herself navigating a new reality, filled with medication schedules, therapy sessions, and the emotional roller coaster of watching someone she loved struggle. But amidst the challenges, she discovered a hidden treasure in Pete's old study, a dusty notebook filled with his handwritten stories, dreams of being a published author that had never come to fruition. As she flipped through the pages, each tale unfolded like a flower blooming, revealing a world where loss and resilience danced hand in hand. Reading those stories aloud, Amelia could see a flicker of recognition in Pete's eyes. Slowly, he began to respond to her, his memories surfacing like bubbles in a glass of champagne. Each word breathed life back into him, transforming their quiet afternoons into vibrant storytelling sessions that bridged the gap between past and present. One story in particular, a tale of love lost and the strength to carry on, captivated both of them. It was as if the story was written for Amelia, resonating with her current struggles and aspirations. As she read, Pete's expressions shifted. The corners of his mouth turned up, and the shadows in his eyes began to lift. It was a glimpse of the man she had always known, a reminder that beneath the layers of illness lay a wellspring of memories and dreams. In those moments, Amelia felt a spark of inspiration ignite within her. She wanted to share Pete's stories with the world, to let his voice be heard again, even if it meant stepping back from her own aspirations for a little while longer. The idea of publishing his tales grew like a seed planted in fertile soil. Amelia envisioned a book that would not only honor her grandfather's legacy, but also provide a glimmer of hope to others who faced adversity. She immersed herself in the world of publishing, learning about formatting, editing, and finding the right publisher. Each step was a labor of love, fueled by the realization that this project was about much more than just words on a page. It was about family, sacrifice, and the unbreakable bond they shared. As the days turned into months, Amelia's dedication bore fruit. The process was slow and often frustrating, yet with every challenge, she felt Pete's presence guiding her. She would often pause, glancing over at him as he sat in his favorite armchair, a distant look in his eyes, lost in thought. It was during these moments that Amelia found her resolve strengthening. She was not just writing a book. She was weaving their story together, a tapestry of love, resilience, and the power of memory. The day finally came when the manuscript was complete, and with a mixture of excitement and nervousness, Amelia hit the send button. The book was officially submitted for publication, and she felt a rush of emotions wash over her. It was a bittersweet moment, a culmination of sacrifices made and dreams put on hold. But as she looked at Pete, who was now fully engaged in their shared project, she knew that this was just the beginning of a new chapter for both of them. In the weeks that followed, Amelia and Pete spent their days discussing the stories, the characters, and the messages woven throughout the pages. It was during one of these conversations that Pete revealed an unexpected truth. He had never wanted to publish his stories for fame or recognition. He had simply wanted to share the lessons learned from his own life. As he spoke, Amelia realized that this project was not just about the book. It was about healing for both of them. The bond they shared deepened as they navigated the emotional landscape of the stories. Each tale opened a door to conversations they had never had, revealing layers of Pete's life that Amelia had only glimpsed before. She learned about his childhood, his dreams, and the heartaches he had endured. The stories became a bridge connecting their generational divide, allowing them to understand each other in ways they hadn't before. As the publication date approached, excitement filled the air, mingling with a touch of anxiety. Amelia had poured her heart into every word, and the thought of sharing it with the world both thrilled and terrified her. Would others resonate with Pete's stories? Would they find inspiration in his experiences? These questions swirled in her mind, but ultimately, she held on to the belief that the stories were powerful enough to touch hearts, just as they had touched her own. The moment the book was released, Amelia felt an exhilarating rush of emotions. The words she had nurtured and cherished were now out in the world, available for others to read, to learn from, and to be inspired by. The response was overwhelming, with people sharing their own stories of loss and resilience, connecting with Pete's words on a profound level. It was as if the book had created a community, a space where shared experiences could be voiced and validated. Through all of this, Amelia's journey of caring for her grandfather morphed into something beautiful. She found a way to balance her responsibilities while reigniting her own passions. The book became a testament to the sacrifices made for family, a reminder that love could blossom even in the darkest of times. And as Pete began to regain his strength, Amelia felt a renewed sense of purpose. The stories that had once been a means of connection now lit a path forward, guiding her back to her own dreams and aspirations. In the quiet moments they shared, Amelia realized that her decision to care for her grandfather had not only been a sacrifice, but also a catalyst for her own growth. As Pete's health improved and their bond deepened, she found herself more determined than ever to resume her studies. Each day was a reminder that family sacrifices often hold the keys to our true passions, and that love, in all its forms, can inspire the most life-altering decisions. As Amelia looked back on the journey they had taken together, she understood that while her path had shifted, it had also become richer and more meaningful. The stories they had shared became a source of strength, a reminder that through love and resilience, they could overcome any obstacle that life placed in their way. And as she prepared to step back into her academic life, she knew that the bond she had forged with Pete would remain unbreakable, a cherished connection that would guide her through whatever came next. Amelia's heart swelled with a mix of hope and trepidation as she prepared to return to campus. The decision felt monumental, like standing on the precipice of a new chapter where the past and future intertwined. Over the months spent caring for Pete, she had unearthed not just his stories but her own narrative, crafted from love, sacrifice, and newfound determination. The world of academia awaited her, but it would forever be altered by the time she spent nurturing her grandfather's dreams. The day she returned to campus was marked by a bittersweet blend of excitement and anxiety. The vibrant energy of students bustling around her was intoxicating, but it also felt foreign, a reminder of the life she had temporarily stepped away from. As she walked through the familiar halls, memories of late-night study sessions and laughter with friends flooded her mind. Yet, this time, she carried with her the weight of responsibility, a deeper understanding of life's fragility and the strength that family could provide. In her first week back, Amelia settled into her classes, but the rhythm of student life felt different. She found herself yearning for the connection she had forged with Pete, the stories that had become their lifeline. Every lecture seemed to echo with the lessons from those tales, resonating within her as she navigated complex theories and discussions. She was no longer just a student. She was a storyteller, someone who understood the importance of weaving personal experiences into the fabric of learning. One afternoon, sitting in the library, Amelia was approached by a classmate, Jake, who had heard about the book. His curiosity was evident as he asked her questions about the stories and the journey she had undertaken with her grandfather. As they chatted, she felt a sense of pride swell within her. Sharing her experiences was not just about recounting events. It was about inviting others into a world that had transformed her perspective. Jake listened intently, his eyes lighting up with each revelation, and Amelia realized that in sharing their story, she was also inspiring others to reflect on their own lives and relationships. "Your dedication is incredible," Jake said, his voice warm with admiration. "It's amazing how you turned such a tough situation into something beautiful. It makes me think about my own family and the stories we haven't shared." Amelia smiled, feeling a connection form between them. It's all about finding those connections, right? The stories we tell can bridge gaps and help us understand each other better. I think it's important to cherish those moments. As their conversation deepened, Amelia felt a renewed sense of purpose. She began to see her return to college not as a struggle, but as an opportunity to amplify the lessons she had learned during her time with Pete. Each assignment became an avenue for exploration, a chance to integrate her personal journey into her academic pursuits. The research papers she wrote transformed into reflections on resilience, family, and the power of storytelling, allowing her to honor Pete's legacy while embracing her own aspirations. Weeks turned into months, and as the semester unfolded, Amelia flourished. She found herself engaging in heated discussions with her classmates, drawing parallels between her grandfather's stories and the literature they were studying. Her professors noticed a shift in her approach, a depth to her analyses that sparked lively debates and encouraged her peers to share their own narratives. It became evident that her journey had not only changed her, but had also inspired those around her to consider the importance of their own stories. Amelia often returned home to visit Pete on weekends, eager to share her experiences and the insights she had gained. Each time, she brought news of her classes, her professors' praise, and the impact of the book they had created together. Pete would listen intently, his eyes sparkling with pride, as if he were living vicariously through her successes. Their conversations were filled with laughter and tears, the duality of their experiences creating a rich tapestry of emotions. One evening, as they sat on the porch, the sun setting in a blaze of color, Amelia looked over at Pete. "I want to do more with the stories, Grandpa. I feel like there's a whole world out there that could benefit from what you've experienced. Maybe we can do workshops or readings together." "I love that idea, Amelia," Pete replied, his voice steady, though deeply emotional. "Sharing these stories is like passing on a torch. It's not just about me. It's about connecting with others and helping them find their own resilience." The thought of hosting workshops ignited a fire within Amelia. She envisioned evenings filled with storytelling, where participants could share their own narratives, drawing strength from one another. It was an opportunity to create a community, to foster connections that transcended generations. The idea took shape in her mind, and she began mapping out plans for the first workshop, envisioning how they could create a safe space for others to explore their own stories. As she delved into preparations, the excitement of the project intertwined with her studies. The workshops would not only allow her to honor Pete's legacy, but also create a platform for others to be heard. Each session would be a celebration of resilience, a gathering of voices sharing the highs and lows of life. The prospect of bringing people together inspired Amelia to reach out to local community centers and libraries, seeking venues that could host their gatherings. If this story is touching your heart, make sure to comment from where you are hearing this amazing story. Your engagement not only fuels our passion for storytelling, but also strengthens the community we're building together. With the groundwork laid, Amelia approached Pete with the news. I've scheduled our first workshop for next month. We'll invite people to share their stories, and I want you to lead the discussion. Pete's face lit up, the shadows of his illness momentarily lifted by the thrill of purpose. Amelia, that sounds incredible. I may not be the same man I once was, but I can still share what I've learned. I'd be honored to be a part of it. As the date of the workshop drew nearer, Amelia felt a mix of nerves and excitement. She meticulously organized the details, ensuring that everything would be perfect for the participants. The night before the event, she sat with Pete, going over the plans and discussing how they would facilitate the discussions. Their conversations were filled with anticipation, each idea sparking new energy between them. On the day of the workshop, Amelia arrived early at the community center, her heart racing with a blend of excitement and anxiety. She set up chairs in a circle, creating an inviting atmosphere. As the participants began to trickle in, she felt a sense of warmth envelop her. Faces of all ages appeared, each person carrying their own stories, their own burdens. As the workshop commenced, Amelia welcomed everyone and introduced Pete, who spoke with a gentle confidence that resonated with the group. His words flowed like the river of stories he had once written, drawing listeners in and encouraging them to share their own experiences. The atmosphere transformed into one of camaraderie, where vulnerability was met with understanding and laughter mingled with tears. Throughout the evening, Amelia watched as connections formed, as strangers became friends through the shared act of storytelling. Each voice added a layer to the tapestry they were weaving together, creating a rich mosaic of resilience and hope. It was a moment of magic, where her efforts to honor her grandfather's legacy had blossomed into something far greater than she had imagined. As the workshop came to a close, participants lingered, exchanging contact information and promising to return for future gatherings. Amelia felt a swell of pride, knowing that they had created a space that encouraged healing and connection. She glanced over at Pete, who was engaged in conversation with a young woman, their laughter ringing out like music in the air. It was a sight that filled her heart with joy. The man who had once been shrouded in silence was now a beacon of inspiration. In the weeks that followed, the workshops became a regular occurrence, drawing in more participants and fostering a sense of community. Each session was a celebration of resilience, a reminder that every story mattered. Amelia and Pete worked side by side, guiding discussions and encouraging others to explore their narratives. It was a partnership that deepened their bond, allowing them both to grow in ways they hadn't anticipated. Amelia's journey had come full circle. The sacrifices she had made to care for her grandfather had not only nurtured their relationship, but it also unearthed a path filled with purpose. The act of sharing stories became a healing balm, not only for themselves, but for everyone who entered their space. She began to see that family sacrifices often held the keys to realizing true passions, and that love could inspire the most transformative decisions. As the seasons changed, so too did Amelia and Pete. The workshops flourished, and with every new participant, they witnessed the power of storytelling to heal, to connect, and to inspire. The stories they shared were woven into the fabric of their lives, creating an unbreakable bond that would last for generations to come. And as Amelia stood beside her grandfather, guiding others to find their voices, she knew that together, they had crafted a legacy far greater than either had dreamed. Amelia's journey had come full circle. The sacrifices she had made to care for her grandfather had not only nurtured their relationship, but it also unearthed a path filled with purpose. The act of sharing stories became a healing balm, not only for themselves, but for everyone who entered their space. She began to see that family sacrifices often held the keys to realizing true passions, and that love could inspire the most transformative decisions. As the seasons changed, so too did Amelia and Pete. The workshops flourished, and with every new participant, They witnessed the power of storytelling to heal, to connect, and to inspire. The stories they shared were woven into the fabric of their lives, creating an unbreakable bond that would last for generations to come. And as Amelia stood beside her grandfather, guiding others to find their voices, she knew that together, they had crafted a legacy far greater than either had dreamed. One evening, after a particularly moving workshop, Amelia and Pete sat together in their usual spot on the porch, the sky painted in hues of twilight. There was a comfortable silence between them, a shared understanding that transcended words. Amelia turned to Pete, her heart swelling with gratitude. "I never imagined we would be doing something like this, Grandpa. It feels like we're making a difference." Pete smiled, his face crinkling with warmth. "You've always had that spark, Amelia. It just took a little detour to ignite it fully. I'm proudo. F you for finding your path through all of this." "Thank you for believing in me," she replied, her voice soft. "You've taught me more than I could ever express. Every story we share helps others heal, just as we have." As they reminisced about the past months, Amelia thought about the impact they had made. The workshop attendees had not only shared their struggles, but had also celebrated their victories, creating a tapestry of resilience that resonated through the community. She felt a sense of responsibility to continue this journey, to expand their outreach beyond the local center. Inspired by the connections they had fostered, Amelia began brainstorming ideas for a community storytelling festival. It would bring together storytellers from all walks of life, a celebration of voices that echoed the experiences of loss, love, and triumph. She envisioned performances, workshops, and open mic sessions, a vibrant space where people could share their narratives and connect with one another. The thought of the festival sparked excitement within her. "What if we organized a storytelling festival, Grandpa? We could invite people from all over to share their stories, just like we do in our workshops." Pete's eyes lit up, and he nodded enthusiastically. "That sounds marvelous, Amelia." A festival could create a ripple effect, spreading the power of storytelling even further. With Pete's encouragement, Amelia dove into the planning. She reached out to local organizations, artists, and community leaders, sharing her vision and gathering support. The response was overwhelmingly positive. People were eager to contribute, to be part of something that celebrated the human experience. It was a whirlwind of activity, filled with meetings, brainstorming sessions, and collaborations. As the festival date approached, Amelia felt a mix of exhilaration and nervousness. She poured every ounce of energy into the preparations, ensuring that every detail was perfect. With Pete by her side, the two of them became a dynamic team, their shared passion igniting a fire in their hearts. They met with local businesses for sponsorships, connected with musicians for entertainment, and crafted schedules to maximize participation. On the day of the festival, the sun shone brightly, casting a warm glow over the park where the event was held. Colorful banners flapped in the gentle breeze, and the air was filled with laughter and anticipation. As attendees began to arrive, Amelia felt a rush of emotion. This was more than just an event. It was a culmination of their journey, a celebration of resilience and community spirit. Throughout the day, stories flowed like a river, each one unique yet threaded with universal themes of love, loss, and hope. Participants shared their experiences on stage, their voices resonating through the crowd. Amelia watched, her heart brimming with pride, as Pete took the stage to share one of his cherished stories. His voice, though sometimes shaky, carried strength and wisdom, captivating the audience and reminding everyone of the importance of connection. As the festival unfolded, Amelia moved through the crowd, engaging with participants and listening to their stories. Each conversation deepened her understanding of the human experience, revealing the intricate tapestry of lives interwoven with struggles and triumphs. She realized that they were all part of something larger, a community bound by shared narratives that could inspire and heal. When the festival came to a close, the atmosphere was electric with joy and fulfillment. People mingled, exchanging contact information and promising to continue the conversation sparked that day. Amelia felt a sense of accomplishment wash over her, knowing they had created a space that honored the power of storytelling. As she and Pete packed up the remnants of the festival, she turned to him, her eyes shining with excitement. "We did it, Grandpa. I can't believe how amazing today was." Pete grinned, his heart full. "It was all you, Amelia. You took the spark and turned it into a flame. I'm so proud of what you've accomplished." In that moment, Amelia realized that the journey was not just about the stories they had shared, but also about the relationships they had built along the way. The festival had become a testament to the power of resilience, a celebration of the love that had guided them through their darkest times. As they drove home, the sun setting behind them, Amelia felt a sense of peace settle within her. She had stepped in her own narrative, one marked by courage, love, and the unwavering bond she shared with her grandfather. Looking ahead, she knew that this was just the beginning. The stories they had created together would continue to inspire and connect, weaving a legacy that would last long after the final word had been spoken. Amelia's heart swelled with hope as she envisioned the future. She would continue to honor Pete's stories, to share their journey with the world. And in doing so, she would forge her own path, a powerful testament to the love that had shaped her and a reminder that every sacrifice made for family could ultimately lead to the discovery of one's true self. Together, they had transformed not only their lives but the lives of countless others, proving that in the tapestry of life, every thread mattered.